Technically, depression is a pain-like disorder as opposed to anxiety. So anxiety, especially excess anxiety, is a response to threat. Pain is a response to punishment and damage. Anxiety is a more abstracted form of negative emotion. If you're depressed, you're more likely to be anxious and vice versa, because all negative emotions overlap. But the treatments for those two things are also quite different. The first thing I do as a clinician, if someone comes to me and says they're depressed, is ask myself a question. Well, what does this person mean by that? So I have to find out, because maybe they're not depressed, maybe they're hyper anxious, or maybe they're obsessional. There's various forms of powerful negative emotion, so they need to be differentiated. But then the next question you have to ask is, well, are you depressed, or do you have a terrible life, or is it some combination of the two? One definition we'd agreed on was that being depressed was like hearing that your dog had just died, and remembering that continually, and that was a dog you actually liked a lot. You thought, well, that's bad, but it's not nearly as bad as depression. Because, well, with severe depression, you lose positive emotion and gain a lot of negative emotion. But with this akathisia, it was like all of the negative emotion associated with depression, plus a very high level of anxiety, plus no positive emotion at all, plus the inability to ever relax, even for a moment. And so I wouldn't recommend it. Depression is associated with grief and shame and guilt. It's characterized by a decrease in positive motivation, so less enthusiasm, less curiosity, less hope, often hopelessness per se, and a proliferation of negative emotion. And those are separate biochemical systems to some degree. So if you're really depressed, you have no positive emotion, and you have way too much negative emotion. I would say that if it's depression, you should do something about it, because depression is very hard on people. It produces a lot of stress hormones like cortisol, and that can hurt you. If it's only been a couple of days, I wouldn't worry about it. But if it's a chronic pattern, then you should go talk to somebody, even your family doctor, and there's always the possibility that a low dose of an antidepressant might be worth trying. You'd know in a month if it fixed you, but I would say don't stay in that situation, man. Go find out. Do whatever you have to get out of it.